Hello and welcome to BRB Time, where I will be highlighting Final Fantasy XIV. The game relaunched in 2013 after a catastrophic failure caused the company to close its servers for a short time. The game returned as Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. In this video, I will be discussing what content exists for new and old players, PvE, PvP, and character creation, as well as finishing up with my verdict on the game and whether or not I believe others should be playing. Players who are new to the game are presented with 5 choices to select from for the race of their character. Additionally, players who own Heavensward have access to the 6th race, known as the Ra. Beyond picking your character's race, you will be allowed to tweak details on your character's appearance as well as select your class. None of the classes are locked to gender or race, so all choices are available. Although the character creation for Final Fantasy XIV is nothing groundbreaking, the way it appears on my graphics card is stunning. Despite the options you may choose for picking your character, you will find that it's incredibly easy to make a good looking character and go ahead and start playing. This brings me to my next point. Final Fantasy XIV boasts 24 classes currently, and all these classes can be played on a single character through equipping a job stone. For players who dislike alts, this is an amazing quality of life point. Despite all of the classes being available, Square Enix does a wonderful job of maintaining balance among the classes for the purpose of typical play. Like most other games of a similar genre, leveling in a combat skill will require you to do questing, dungeons, and monster hunting in the open world. Final Fantasy does little to change what already works, only by offering the opportunity for players to partake in fates and daily roulettes, for large experience or currency gains. Fates are more or less just quests available to players in the environment that can be joined or left at any moment. Fates use a system which takes your level and contribution into account, which then decides how much of a reward you deserve. This allows players to work together towards goals despite there being a large level gap. Because fate zones exist all over the world, it is common to find large groups farming fates for experience rewards and following the fate chains as they level and outgrow their zones. Next up is what many players will argue to be the bread and butter of not just Final Fantasy XIV, but of the entire series. Final Fantasy XIV does a wonderful job of setting up choreographed fights that are both challenging and engaging at the high and low end of the difficulty scale. These fights are shown through absolutely breathtaking environments ranging from volcanoes to beaches, and even when there is no environment to show off, these fights use all manner of special effects and cinematography to convey the importance of each and every single battle. As you can see in my footage, even in the lower difficulty levels of a fight, the fight becomes intense and epic. This lets even less hardcore players feel as though they are playing the hero, even without doing savage or extreme level content. And as if the fights and environments weren't enough, nearly every boss represented in a Final Fantasy game makes a cameo in Final Fantasy XIV. The game truly feels and plays like a love story to older games in the franchise, while managing to not alienate new players. The game manages to keep players involved and interested in the bosses by doing a wonderful job of telling a story around them. Without spoiling anything, I'll suffice it to say that characters you believe to be your friend at the beginning of the story by the end have turned into something entirely different. The PvP in FF14 comes in 3 flavors: Frontlines, a 72-man PvP raid, Feast, an 8 to 16-man arena, and the 1 vs 1 dueling circle. Like other MMO, FF14 separates its PvP from its PvE. This allows players to exclusively play one or the other and excel if they choose to focus on it. There are 4 maps for Frontlines PvP, with 2 being level locked to level 50. Unfortunately, since players don't really participate in PvP at level 50, those battlegrounds have become rare. For players who prefer smaller battlegrounds, Final Fantasy XIV offers the Feast and the Fold. These are both game types geared towards smaller player amounts, where kills tend to have a larger impact on matches. The Feast focuses on defeating enemies and obtaining their medals, whereas the Fold focuses on defeating all opponents in a deathmatch. Beyond what the game offers for combat, Final Fantasy XIV offers an incredibly unique and interesting crafting system that rivals the depths of some of their fighting mechanics. With the game offering full-fledged classes for crafting, there are recipes which actually require crafting rotations. Final Fantasy XIV's distinguishment between high and low quality materials and products allows players to truly leave their mark on a crafted item by being one of the few able to attain a high quality rating on a tufted craft. This also gives players the opportunity to play the game doing whatever they want. You're not obligated to raid, PvP, or craft. They are only there as suggestions. Finally, I will be talking about some of the optional content that exists purely for your enjoyment. These are the minigames that can be found in the Golden Saucer. The Golden Saucer is home to all sorts of distractions and diversions, such as gambling machines, chocobo racing, Lords of Verminion, and Triple Triad. In the case of chocobo racing, it plays out a lot like Mario Kart. You are given a chocobo that you can customize and you can give abilities to, and you're allowed to race against NPCs or other players as you see fit, and it's great fun. It's something that I would recommend to anyone who picks the game up. Just check out the Golden Saucer and go do some chocobo racing. Lords of Verminion, on the other hand, is a strategy game based around using the minions you've gathered throughout your time in the game to play against other players who have also gathered minions. It's also pretty fun. It's a little bit shallow as far as RTS games go, but I think it's a fun little distraction from the rest of the game, and it's pretty enjoyable to do with a couple friends. So I definitely recommend checking that out as well. If you've checked out Chocobo Racing already and you're looking for something different, check out Lords of Verminion or Triple Triad. Those are both really fun. Now that I have listed many of the things that the game offers to new and old players, I'm going to just list off what I believe the game excels at and where it suffers. I would say my largest flaws with the game currently are the large amount of invisible walls and the barrier the story poses to inviting new players to the game. New players have a huge amount of content to enjoy, but this becomes a double-edged sword when new players can't enjoy the game with their veteran partners. Beyond that, I don't have any problems with the game. The community is close-knit and nice, the development team listens to the players, and the game is fun. There isn't more I can ask from a game. So now comes the final question of this video. Do I believe this game is worth paying a monthly fee to play? To that I will say absolutely yes. This is probably the best MMORPG I've played ever. I did enjoy The Old Republic. I've played RuneScape when I was a kid. I've played World of Warcraft. And the only other game that has kept me around for a game this long is RuneScape when I was a kid. So I would say that if you like having an endless amount of things to do, a bunch of different classes to level, an enjoyable story to partake in, an insane amount of bosses to fight, and you can do it with friends, then I would say pick up Final Fantasy as soon as you possibly can, put that on your shelf, play it as soon as you can, and enjoy it, because that's what's going to happen. as if you can get past the initial barrier into the game that comes from leveling up, then after you're out of that, you're good to go. So that is my opinion on it. That's my verdict on it, and that's all I can say about it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. So if you have, go ahead and leave a like and maybe subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one. Take care.